Aboard this aircraft, there are 6 emergency exits.
Hello, everybody. This is Ron, your captain speaking. We are currently 30,000 feet in the air, and we haven't even left the airport. We just lit the joint. Just kidding, a little pilot humor there. We like to have fun. Our destination today is Casablanca, Morocco. So everyone, sit back, fasten your seatbelts, and prepare for takeoff. We will be arriving in 6 hours.
Gang, how we doing, 7-footers gang? It is your girl, Jenna and Jarod here after some major technical difficulties.
Major technical difficulties. It's
Jarod,
like
when the music came on just now, I actually looked at myself in the camera and was like, "Oh God, thank you. It was bad, guys. I mean, and you know your girl already does not mess with the technology out here in these streets. So it was all up to Jarod here, but of course he saved the day and got us rolling here. So we need to talk about the latest news going on and the moves going on in the association. People are losing their jobs right before Christmas. It's not nice. I don't agree with it. However, I agree with this decision. No, I'm kidding. Yes, I do agree with this decision. Let's talk about the drama in Portland because there's a lot of it, starting with Neil Olshey. He is out. He is fired for violating code of conduct with the team, and that has led to a slew of other issues that are outpouring in Portland and, of course, trickling down to their season struggles and leading up with their franchise face and Damian Lillard. We'll get to it all, but let's talk about first Neil out in Portland. What was your reaction to this news?
You know, for me, Jenna, I was like, all right, we knew this was probably coming, right? It was time for this to happen. And, you know, Neil's not a good dude, right? Like, let's just call that what it is, right? Like, and I feel like the whole situation with Dame and what's happening there, and this was all coming to a head. And look, let's not forget Jody Allen, owner of the Portland Trail Blazers. This is a woman who, if you've been reading and following True Hoop like you should be, and our excellent series that Henry Abbott's doing on the money that comes into the NBA, Jody Allen's a strange woman. All right, she's someone who flew to parts of Antarctica, which you're not supposed to go to, and had penguin skulls taken and brought back to her place. She's been noted as having her security wear skimpy outfits and dance around in front of her. Like, it's just, I mean, she's just problematic. All right, like,
Jeez.
It's all bad. So there's that. Then there's the hiring Chauncey Billups, and he has his whole history of sexual assault. It's just icky, you know?
It is. It's not a good situation there in Portland. And it's trickling down, like I mentioned before. And an interesting story by The Athletic that came out this week saying that multiple sources are saying that Dame wants to play with Ben Simmons, who we know famously has a saga of his own in Philadelphia. He's requested a trade. He hasn't been playing and has not played this season because he says he's not yet mentally ready to play in Philadelphia. So, again, we know that he wants out. He had a standoff with the team. So that tidbit right there is interesting because this isn't the first time these guys have been in trade talks together since Simmons wanted out of Philadelphia. But, yeah, that entire report by The Athletic is really interesting because it talks about how Dame is becoming frustrated with the team's play and their struggles this season and how there are mounting tensions with Chauncey Billups, first-year head coach, as you just mentioned. So this is not good. Not good of a first-year head coach, not good of the turmoil that's going on in Portland outside of the game of basketball, and now this. We all know what happened in the summer when Dame voiced that he wanted big moves in free agency. Portland didn't do that. And then he wants he wants a title. And Portland is not making as much accurate moves to make that happen. And do you think he's good as gone when he can either request before the trade deadline in February or when he can sign that extension in the next July?
It's tough to figure out what, because look, Dame doesn't want to be the bad guy, right? Like that's the biggest thing, and we've talked about that. But when you want to have that super large contract and do all that stuff, it's not about bad guy, but you're gonna have to flex your leverage and your power and use it. But Dame wants to be seen as a good guy, wants everyone in Portland to love him and do all that. But it's like, bro, like that, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like that, you got to get over that. Like, because this is what it's like. This is NBA ball, my guy, right? Like if you really want to do this thing, you have got to be, willing to make yourself look bad, like all those things. And it's unfortunate. And ultimately, Jenna, like we've talked about this, the team in Portland, they're not good enough to win a championship right now, right? We've discussed that. Like the roster is not competent. Dame and CJ are really it. And other than that, I'm like, it's not really enough to win. And CJ now is having issues in terms of like, where do I stand? What's going on? It's just, there's a lot happening right now. And if you're a Portland Trailblazers fan, you can't be happy about just the direction. Now, look, Neil's out of there, so maybe they'll find somebody better. But it's like anything else, like this isn't we get rid of Neil, everything will be fine. This is a problem that starts at the top. This is a Jody Allen problem. This is a problem with ownership, right? Like, and if there's no clear mission or vision, and also rumors, by the way, that Jody Allen wants to get the Trailblazers in a spot where she can sell the team. That's yeah. So, I mean, look, there's a lot to unpack here. And it's something where, again, you're band-aiding it, right? Like a new GM may work for a little bit. Is it enough? I don't know, right? And now with Dame's status uncertain, you gonna be able to recruit any free agents to come up there? Probably not. I mean, there's a lot of things. And again, I want to be clear about the Neil O'Shea stuff, like toxic workplace culture, and if you think this is only happening in Phoenix and in Portland, because Robert Sarver is why I mentioned Phoenix, it's probably not, dudes. Like, it's probably indicative of it's happening not in every team around the league, but more than these two, right? And so the question is, can we make this league and this organization better? One of the things that Coach Thorpe on True Hoop says all the time is it's not hard to be decent, right? Like, it isn't. Like, if we can just introduce some decency into our interactions every day, things might be a lot better. But yeah, things are not great in Portland right now. What does this mean for Dame and where he ends up? Well, right now he's got the abdominal injury. So, I mean, who knows when he's going to step on the court again? He's at least another 4 or 5 days away from potentially being back. So it's not a good spot right now for Portland.
No, they're not in a good spot whatsoever. Dame's dealing with injury. And then in that athletic report, CJ McCollum was mentioned, and they reported that O'Shea was talking about some sort of trade happening and with McCollum in that aspect, and then, of course, got fired. So it's interesting to see who's going to take over these decisions in the interim and who they're going to replace O'Shea with, because it's not looking good in Portland. And apparently also in that report, Billups ripped into his players after a loss to the Celtics, who don't have it together as much either.
They're playing without any sort of passion and effort and intensity right now. And look, I don't want to put that on Chauncey like it's his fault, right? Like, it's just, there's a lot going on. And again, given what is happening within that organization, was a first-year coach like Chauncey Billups and again, his past sexual assault allegation, I'm not saying it has anything to do with how he's coaching right now, but all that being said, with now the Neil O'Shea situation, was he the right person to bring along? I'm saying probably not.
A lot of people question that hire, and I didn't see many people advocating for it or even applauding it when it did happen, I will say, as opposed to other things that you see around the league. So interesting in Portland. But yeah, keep in mind those dates. I think it's February 10th is that trade deadline right there. So Dame could request a trade before then, and then he's eligible to sign a max extension in July. So that's if we make it there. One day at a time.
One day at a
Dame
time.
That is it. That was one of my proudest moments on air.
I like
and
it.
It probably didn't even catch it because of our technical difficulties. So we'll see in the final cut. But let's move on and keep these smiles on our faces if you're a Bay fan, because we got to talk about Steph Curry. He is already surpassing so many different records and iconic players in history, and now he's just 16 three-pointers away from breaking Ray Allen's career three-point record. And he says of breaking it, anything is possible. Of course it is. You're Steph Curry. We know. So let's just bask in this greatness really quick, because I mean, this is incredible to be in this company, number one, and to keep doing this. He's doing this a lot, and it's before Christmas. How many accolades have we seen him reach already, Jarod, in the couple weeks that we've been seeing in the beginning of the season here? I mean,
he's listen, the man is ridiculous. He is putting together, Jenna, a top 10 all-time career achievement resume. If he is able to win the MVP this season, and forget about if they win the title, he will join an exclusive group of people that have at least 3 MVPs and 3 NBA championships. Jenna, that list is very small. You want to know who's on that list? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Your guy.
Exactly. Michael Jordan. LeBron James. Magic Johnson. Larry Bird.
Ooh.
And Bill Russell. That's it.
Oh, what a team.
Ain't nobody else on that list. That's it.
What a team, what a time.
Tim Duncan has 2 MVPs and 5 championships, so he falls one single MVP short. But like this is where we're at. Like, this is the rarefied air he's in. Now, does he become one of the 10 greatest players of all time, as in 10 best we've ever seen? That's a different argument, right? And I always talk about that. Career accomplishments are different than, is he one of the 10 best basketball players you've ever seen in your entire lifetime, right? Like, yeah. And depending on when you were born, maybe that's true, maybe not, whatever. And that's a different argument. But in terms of resumes and accomplishments, oh yeah, that's a top 10 resume if he's able to do that. And look, Jenna, he may put the 3-point record somewhere close to 4,000 made threes, which, I mean,
I'm annoyed. I'm already annoyed.
Annoyed. I mean, what are you gonna do? That's right. Like, you're all right, cool. Like, good luck trying to pass that. And he's incredible. And he mentioned he knew what the record was, right? 15 to tie, 16 to break. But it's also about passing Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson currently holds the single game record for most threes made at 14. And as Steph said, if you've seen me these past couple of games and years, I'm not afraid of shooting, which of course we know he's not. This man will pull up. I mean, he shows up to the parking lot, he's probably pulling up from there, right? Like, he's on the minute he gets anywhere near the arena. So I wouldn't be surprised if he, lights this up Wednesday night against the Blazers. And if not, then he has a Saturday night prime time on ABC game against the Philadelphia 76ers. And who? His little brother, Seth Curry. So, I mean, look, between the Wednesday's game against Portland and Saturday's game at Philly, the record will fall somewhere around then. I predict.
Right. I love it. And I love the way Steve Kerr talks about Steph. He said, I saw a quote from him and he was like, I'm fully aware he's 15 away. I'm guessing he's going to be shooting a lot against Portland on Wednesday. Just laughing, nothing about it, just so funny, making jokes. Like, he knows how great he is, and he knows it, he's seen it, he believes it. So this is kind of old to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
this is hat. And when we see glimpses of it during primetime games or great moments, we then are like, wow, like, this is insane. And speaking of primetime games really quick, help me out, because I this is off the top of my head, but the Lakers got booted from a primetime slot.
They did.
For the Warriors. And I remember, I'm going to tell myself out. I know I made some type of primetime joke when they went down like the hole and they sucked for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
And I
You
was like, oh
definitely did.
yeah, blah, blah. Yeah. Well, I'm eating those words now because my Lakers got booted.
Oh,
It's
don't
a
worry.
hard week for us.
We'll
Staples
get
Center got removed.
yeah, it's now the Crypto Arena. Who's anybody going to call it the Crypto Arena, by the way, or Crypto.com Arena? It's still the Staples Center. Like,
this
whatever.
is how woke we are now. The arena's got the crypto shit. Somebody teach me.
Crypto.com.
Literally, the DMs are open.
Like, I don't know. Listen, I mean, Jenna, you're too young, but I'm old enough to remember the Great Western Forum. All right, that's how I remember the Los Angeles Lakers playing out in Inglewood. So, I mean, Staples is even too new for me. You know what I'm saying? But whatever, it's all good.
Oh my God, you crack me up. All right, really quick before we switch gears here, the Warriors, they're 20-4 right now, number one in the West. I mean, let's talk about the streak for a second, because how long is this thing going to last? I mean, if this thing lasts until Christmas, my favorite holiday, when Klay Thompson is supposed to come back and they keep this going, I'm going to have real big issues.
Well, get ready to have issues, Jenna. Get ready.
That's all I'm going to say.
Get ready, because Golden State and Phoenix are going to kind of run away with the top of the West right now. Listen, the teams below them, and I'll give Utah as the one team that's like still within the realm with them. But after them, those three teams, I mean, it's slim pickings. Look, you know I love my Grizzly Cubs, but come on. They're the 26th defense in the league adjusted net rating right now. Like, okay. Like, and I love them. You know that. But no Ja Morant right now. Although Triple J doing this thing. You know, the Clippers are down Kawhi. The Denver Nuggets are a mash unit. We discussed the disaster that is the Portland Trailblazers. The Mavericks are meh. I don't know what they right. I mean, so listen, those two teams are going to run away with this right now. So get ready.
The West is too terrifying for me. You know, I've always loved the East. Damn it.
But the West, James. I mean, but really, besides those top two teams and maybe Utah, the rest of the West is slim picking. So even your Lakers, I mean, I don't predict this, but if they somehow right the ship and go on like a 6-7 game winning streak, guess what? They're going to be right back in the top 4, top 3. So they're not going to be 2 or 1, but you know, so anything's possible.
Yeah, okay, Steph Curry over there. Anything's possible. Whatever. I'm not a sore loser, I promise. Okay?
Yeah, right. We know you are. It's okay.
Let's talk about another team that's down in the dumps. Actually, I'm the only one that's down in the dumps. Let's talk about the Pacers, because shocking news really quick to start the week here. The Pacers are looking to rebuild, according to Shams Charania of The Athletic. And trade talk centered around Caris LeVert and either Domantas Sabonis or Myles Turner. I know you're a fan of Sabonis over there, Jarod. And like LeVert and Turner aren't bad names either to help out teams. So interesting to see if these three are on the market. Who could use them?
Well, so it's funny, Jenna. You know, Nate McMillan got fired from the Indiana Pacers, and everybody was like, oh, you know, we need somebody else to get this team in a better direction. All right, you had Nate Bjorkgren last year. How'd that go? Not great. Right? The team basically had a mutiny, and we're like, we're not playing for this dude. Now, to be fair, TJ Warren, who was their best player in the bubble, and that, you know, he's out. But, you still got Brogdon, LeVert, Sabonis, Turner, and now the great Rick Carlisle is there. And while they have a positive adjusted net rating, they are currently outside of the playoff race, right? Not even in the play-in. Listen, they need to have an identity there, and we're not sure what it is. So it's going to be moving either Sabonis or Turner, because they're going to want to keep one of them. You know, the funny thing is, Turner will have the higher trade value, I feel like, because most GMs are dumb, and they're going to pick like, ooh, that's the name. But if you look at actual impact on winning, Sabonis is actually the better player, right? In terms of rebounding, his offensive impact, defensive impact. Now, because Turner doesn't rebound enough for his size. Here's your challenge, though. In today's NBA, where good teams like the Warriors go super small, you need a 4 or a 5 who can stay on the floor and switch. Turner is a little bit more mobile, right? And can switch out a little bit better than Sabonis can. Sabonis is a little slower of foot, right? Not nearly the athlete that Myles Turner is. So that's sort of your challenge there. Listen, you know, I'm a big Caris LeVert fan. Covered him for years when he was here in Brooklyn. You know, the injury bug has really been a problem for him, and he's just hasn't been able to put together, 2-3 healthy seasons in a row. I mean, it's just hasn't been able to do it, but he still got value. I wonder if you are the Brooklyn Nets, Domantas Sabonis would look very good in Nets uniform. Now, what do you have to give that the Pacers would possibly want? Yeah, I mean, your draft picks are pretty much spoken for because you got rid of all of them in the Harden trade, right? So all you really have to give in terms of young talent are Nicholas Claxton, Daron Sharp, Cam Thomas, who you picked up this year, right? And to make the salary match to get LeVert and Sabonis, do you move Kyrie Irving? That works, right? From a salary standpoint, that passes the test. The question is, if you are Indiana, why do I want Kyrie Irving here? By the way, Kyrie Irving, who can be a free agent at the end of this year, right? So no chance he's resigning. He might walk away and retire. But if he does, that's expiring money. So what do you care, right, if you're Indiana? And then, again, you get back Claxton. You get back Cam Thomas. You get back Daron Sharp. Maybe that's enough. I don't know.
Oof. Throwing out that Kyrie trade over there. I mean, hey, it's looking bleaker and bleaker for his future in Brooklyn. And
potentially a 2020, I don't know, 5 or 6. I have to see. I don't remember how far out the Nets went on those trades to get Harden. But, because you figure by 2027, 2028, this team's probably not going to be very good, right? So they'll be a bad team. Is that draft pick spoken for? If not, I'd probably add that to the list. So that's something to consider. But that's one scenario. Again, Myles Turner would look great in Golden State. What would they have to give up? Wiseman for sure, right? They have to give up Kuminga. They like Kuminga. Do they want to give up both Wiseman and Kuminga? Right? I know that's because Indiana, if they're truly rebuilding, right? This is what they're going to want. They're going to want lots of young, cheap contracts that are under their control. Yeah, that's
yes. Hey, that's the way the NBA ball rolls. But interesting. Sabonis, Turner, and LeVert, all in their 20s, all, again, not bad names to be thrown into the mix to help out teams. Say a guy goes down, say anything that you need that one little piece. Again, LeVert riddled by injury back-to-back recently, but hey, you never know. And interestingly enough, this all comes out as after Adrian Wojnarowski reported that TJ McConnell is done for the season after surgery on the right hand for torn ligaments. So again, Indiana is looking for that rebuild. And hey, Carlisle is going to come at the right time to reunite with the organization. What was he there for 14 years?
Yeah, back in the day,
Before he went to Dallas, right?
He was an assistant on Bird's staff and then took over,
Yeah, so again, let's check back with them in 5 years. Kidding. Let's move on to the purple and gold, my Lakers. LeBron James and the Lakers suffered a loss on Friday. And after that loss, a couple days off, they had practice on Monday. Who they played, Jarod? Who was this loss to? The Clippers. Yes, the Clippers. They lost to Ty Lue and the Clippers. Yeah. So on Monday after practice, Vogel and LeBron James were asked about criticism, specifically at Vogel for his coaching style and things, just because the Lakers have a lackluster start to the season and they are riddled with injury and can't seem to really get afloat here, even though they have a Hall of Fame roster in 10 billion additions that they added this season in free agency and probably earn the luxury tax forever, but that's a conversation for another time. So yes, they addressed the complete ailments going on in LA there. And Vogel said, it comes with the territory. This is nothing I haven't seen before, yada, 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 played it cool. LeBron James did the same and said, we're not really listening to critics out there and everything that we do stays in-house and this and that. But The Athletic pointed out that LeBron James didn't do as much or seemingly do as much to kind of cushion the blow of pressure and blame on Vogel's shoulders as the Lakers go through these lulls. And you think people point that out because being a coach of LeBron James comes with a spotlight and eyeballs on you at all times. So what are your thoughts about what they had to say about their struggles lately?
I mean, look, here's the thing. The Lakers roster, LeBron James signed off on that, right? Like he signed off on Melo, on Russ, Malik Monk, all these DeAndre Jordan, all these dudes that are there, LeBron signed off on that. So how you mad at Frank Vogel? Frank Vogel didn't pick that roster. You did, my guy. Like,
and he took responsibility for the roster. He said they need to play better.
They do. But here's the thing. The question is, can they play better? Right? Like, can they play better? Yeah, they need to, but can they? I don't know if they can or not, right? Like, look, LeBron hitched his wagon to Anthony Davis because he figured Davis is the guy to hitch my wagon to and to prolong my prime. You know, man, outside of that run in the bubble, Anthony Davis hasn't really lived up to the billing we thought, right? I mean, in a recent game against the Bucks a couple weeks back, you know, man, Giannis ate that dude's lunch. Like, and again, I know it's Giannis, but still, you Anthony Davis, right? This is someone who people thought could be a DPOY, an MVP, like, and listen, I always say this, but what does Chuck call him? Street clothes, right? I mean, and you know, like, my guy, like, for your size and your skill set, you should be dominating and doing a lot better, and he is not doing that right now. We know what Russell Westbrook is. It's the gift and the curse, right? Like, his greatest strength is also his greatest weakness. And in the playoffs, when you need to lock in and be able to continually hit mid-range shots and not turn the ball over, Russ can't really do that, right? And now we're depending on Taylor Horton Tucker and, you know, Malik Monk and these guys who, all right, like maybe. And Melo, as much as he's doing, and shout out to Christian Joseph, who said, AD is a beta. Wow. I mean, he ain't exactly wrong. Right? I mean, he's not playing like an alpha and a max, right? A super max guy, which, listen, correct me if I'm wrong. Everyone in the world, that's what they think of Anthony Davis, right? He's that dude. Well, I mean, you ain't doing that right now, my guy. So that's a problem. And again, LeBron is 37. This is advanced age. You can't expect him to play 36 minutes a night and not to do all that all regular season and then come playoff time, crank it up another notch. No, this ain't 25-year-old LeBron. No, my friends. So listen, the Lakers, yeah, if you look at their resumes and like everybody on the roster, you would say for sure, these guys, yeah, they got it. They can do the thing. But listen, resumes are nice haves. Can you do it right now? And you know who they miss right now? Who's lighting it up in Chicago? They miss them some Alex Caruso. I mean, Alex Caruso might be a DPOY candidate for crying out loud. That's how good he's playing. And the Lakers could have matched it, but they were like, nah, we're good. Well, okay.
I love that.
Good luck with that.
All the applause for Caruso. Honestly, from a non-biased standpoint, because you all know how I feel about this Lakers team, they might be selling more jerseys than tickets when it comes to playoffs, or if they even make it. So they need to get it together, because right now, what are they, the 7-8 seed? They'd be in the play-in tournament if the playoffs were today. So we're still trying to get our footing here. Not to mention what? Kendrick Nunn hasn't played yet. Neither is Trevor Ariza to injury. So this is just, what is going on?
And Nunn and Ariza are two players they counted on, right? These were people who would be integral. Well, we're 25 games in now. They haven't even suited up yet. Look, man, it's getting late early in Los Angeles. All right. Shout out to Yogi Berra.
Oh, you're full of the jokes today, Jarod. I love it.
Yogi's my guy. He's I mean, the Yogi-isms are just, they're fantastic.
Incredible. You're fantastic.
Lakers in 4. I see the ain't hard to tell dropped a little note in there, which is like more LeBron James propaganda. Lakers in 4. In 4 what? Gonna be going home? Gonna be going home in 4 months? Yeah, probably.
I just saw them. Yo, okay, all right. It's about to get nasty up in here. Ain't hard to tell, our friends. I love you guys. Always on my side, of course. Don't be coming out here with that slander, Jarod.
Listen, I mean, Jenna, like, honestly, do you take away your like LeBron love? Do you honestly think this team can beat Phoenix or Golden State in a 7-game series?
No,
what you've seen so far. All right, that's all I'm asking. What you've seen so far. No. Exactly my point.
Done with you and your laugh, damn it.
Lakers
That's
sweep the
right.
Listen, Lakers gonna be finding themselves at home, chilling, enjoying that LA weather come playoffs.
Yeah. Keep it up. Keep it up over there, Jarod. Keep it up, because when they invite me to LA to celebrate at the championship parade.
Celebrate what? Getting the lottery? What you mean? What are they celebrating?
Yo, you got me today. I freaking can't. Thank God I got this oil on my temples because I'm stressed. I'm stressed out over here. That's it.
Yeah, it ain't
try it,
good.
guys.
It ain't
as long as
looking.
it doesn't make your girl's hair greasy.
Listen, LeBron could go meet Ponce de Leon and find the fountain of youth, and all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? Like, turn back the clock. Maybe. It ain't looking good. Okay. And again, if they have to depend on 30-something-year-old LeBron James to be MVP level, then they weren't going to win anyway. That's what you have Anthony Davis for. That's why he's there, right? He's supposed to be doing this, but he ain't. And Russ and, all that. The king.
Listen, when the king, that 33-year-old man who's actually 34, I think, maybe 35, I'm not sure.
He old.
When he comes back and drags this questionable team
36, he'll be 37 at the end of the month. Yeah.
To the finals, y'all will see where it's at.
Listen, I think it's time for the king to abdicate that throne, my friends. It's yeah.
Whatever. Let's talk about more controversial things, shall we? Let's move on to a new memo passed around the NBA today, saying that according to new Canadian laws, all visitors entering Canada must be fully vaccinated. So NBA informed their teams today, this is Tuesday, December 7th that we're recording this, that unvaccinated players will no longer be allowed to travel to Toronto to play games beginning January 15th. January 15th. That is a little over a month away. So basically, if you want to play the Raptors, you got to get the jab twice. And if you don't, then I don't know what to tell you.
We're going to find out, right? Which players are fully vaxxed and who's faking that funk.
Faking that funk. Yo, listen, not that I ever doubted my king, but when he was put into protocol, I was like, LeBron, please don't hurt me like this, please. And it all turned out well. My king is vaccinated. He was cleared. Lord. And it was handled so poorly, he said. I felt bad for him.
Man, listen, nobody feeling no bad for LeBron James
was
out
upset.
here.
Stop. He was upset.
Stop. Listen, he could stay upset, all right? Listen, here's the thing. So we're going to find out who's legit, right? Who's actually vaxxed and who's on that half vax and not fully. And we'll find out who shows up on that report. And again, this is something I said at the beginning of the season. As you know, every NBA season, some kind of negative impact is going to happen to your ball club. That's just the nature of basketball, right? Whether it be injury, whatever it is, something's going to happen. Why are you allowing something that you have control of to get in the way? You have control over whether or not your team is fully, or you as an individual are fully vaccinated. Like, why y'all bullshitting right now? Get the jab, be fully vaxxed. Those of you can get boosted. By the way, because we're seeing little mini outbreaks. The Chicago Bulls right now, hottest team in the East, playing well. Oh, DeRozan now going to be in health and safety protocol for 10 days, right? Like, you're there, Kobe White in there. I mean, listen, these things are happening. Utah, Austin Rivers, PJ Dozier. I mean, it's just, there's a lot, man. It's just crazy. I see Christian Joseph in here. Brilliant strategy move by Canada. It is. Let's just make sure we find out who's vaxxed and who isn't. Let's get them all out of here, right? And so, hey, if you're going to forfeit a game because you're not, I mean, that's just dumb, man. And again, when we add it all up at the end, and some of you teams that are on that cusp and on that bubble, damn, if we were fully vaxxed, we probably would have won that game. Now we got to play the play-in tournament or whatever have you. So, it's, again, in a long NBA season, things are going to come up. Why allow something that you have control over to be the problem that derails your squad?
And I have the same thoughts when it comes to Kyrie Irving in that situation as well. Again, we have exhausted the topic at this point, but it really is something you have control over. And especially with the way the Nets were assembled, I don't know. I have the same thoughts when it comes to that situation. That's all I will say.
No
But
doubt.
let's talk about more exciting things and get back to the game here itself. Top 5, as Drake said, top 5, top 5, top 5. Love that song. Let's talk about upcoming games that we're looking forward to seeing, whether it's this week, a little bit next week, but let's keep it in the soon to be happening realm.
All right, so
a lot of big matchups.
We doing our top 5s first, though, right? Like, who are our top 5 teams in the league? Then we'll do the game we're looking forward to.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting excited.
I know, I see that. So you want to go back and forth? I'll name my 5. You name your 5, 4, or you go first. You name your 5. I'll name my 5, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1. All right. So for you, your top 5 teams. So your number 5 team in the league. Who is 5th for Jenna Lemoncelli?
Oh my God. Okay. Wait. Let me make sure I have them all ready. Hold on 1 second.
You like Jeopardy music back here.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Number 5. Who's your number 5 team?
I had to put them in order in my head. The Chicago Bulls.
Oh, okay. I like it.
The Chicago Bulls.
No explanation needed. I mean, they're fantastic. They beat the Nets again for the second time this season, doing their jam. So, Jenna goes with Lakers. Our buddy Dexter Henry's producing for us, and he says Jenna's going with Lakers all for her top 5 teams, which she probably would.
If I could, and the rules didn't prohibit that, yes, I would.
We know you would. Number 5 for me, the Brooklyn Nets. They are 5th in adjusted net rating, 16-7. Look, we know they're not beating really good teams, but they're beating up on everybody else. So I'll give them a number 5 squad spot to the Brooklyn Nets. Who's your number 4, Jenna?
Number 4, I am going with the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz have impressed me so much because of the spurts that I'm seeing Donovan Mitchell have and the way he is leading this team. I mean, right now they're 3rd in the West, 16-7. They're right behind those tied Warriors Suns. So they can creep up real fast, and they're a team that you really don't want to play, especially during the regular season. I say that because we always know what happens in the postseason with them. But hey, right now, let your girl enjoy it, and they are my number 4.
All right, my number 4 is Chicago Bulls. For all the reasons, right? Like they're an excellent squad. They're doing their thing. So Chicago Bulls, number 4. They're also number 4 adjusted net rating at 4.2, 17, and 8. Doing big things. All right, who's your number 3?
My number 3 is the Brooklyn Nets for all the reasons you said. I mean, number 1 in the East without Kyrie Irving, I'll give it to them. Just because we talked about how stacked this East was and the fact that you don't have a game changer like Kyrie Irving at the point while you have Harden struggling.
So basically what you're saying, Janet. So what you're saying is Kevin Durant's the man. Is really what you're actually saying. Yeah. That's a sense. Okay, cool. Just want to make sure you're okay. Want to make sure you were clear on that.
Do you like how I've found out how to strategically go around it so I don't have to say it? Because there's only one person left doing the work, so let me just talk about all the bad people.
Number 3 for me, Utah Jazz. Again, I mean, they're actually number 2 in adjusted net rating. They have the number 1 offense in the league right now. Number 13 defense is slightly concerning, but they're still beating the hell out of the team they're supposed to beat the hell out of. So Utah Jazz at 3. All right, who you got number 2?
Number 2, I have the Suns. I mean, no surprise here. Again, tied with the Warriors, number 1 in the West. And I love what I'm seeing out of Devin Booker. It seems as though he has so many more steps we're going to watch him take this season, especially under Chris Paul. And the way Chris Paul, I have not seen any type of worry, decline, anything of playmaking ability, anything. It really is crazy to me. It is out of control because as much as people want to make fun of Chris Paul in certain ways and say he's washed up, old, this and that, this isn't old, honey. This isn't old. And that is what is helping. I signaled my brain for y'all not watching this, although you should be. But again, his sharp skills, to really make the ability to make players good by word of
Make
mouth
players better.
is out of control for me.
He's wonderful. Look, the Suns are my number 2 team as well, and I actually kind of have it as 1 and 1A because they're to me they're pretty close. Yes, the Warriors' adjusted net rating is much higher. They've also had a much softer schedule. And they've split their 2 games so far, 1-1. The second game was the second half of a back-to-back for Phoenix, just to be clear. But yeah, I'm gonna put my Suns at 2, and so we obviously have the Warriors both at 1, 20-4. And look, again, the Warriors and Suns at 20-4 have built a nice lead in the Western Conference. Them teams at 4 through 8 ain't catching them. They're just not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, one, they're not good enough, right? They're just not going to. And that's the advantage of building that kind of lead out early, right? So those two will battle for the number 1 seed and ultimately who gets the home court advantage in a potential Western Conference finals matchup, which I think we all would agree we'd love to see Suns Warriors in a 7-game series because I think that'll be exciting. But yeah, those are our top 5s.
Gotta love it. All right, let's talk about real quick what we are thinking about this week matchup wise. What games we're excited about, what we're intrigued by, whatever you think, Jarod. Tell me, what are you excited to see this week?
There are a couple games I'm looking at this week. I mentioned it earlier, the Saturday ABC primetime game between the Warriors and Sixers. The Sixers are starting to turn things around a little bit. Steph Curry may be going for the record there, so him versus his brother, that's always a good thing to see. And, you know, the Atlanta Hawks are turning things around as well. I'd love to see Brooklyn and Atlanta play Friday. I'll be very curious to see how that game goes. That's in Atlanta. I'm very curious to see that matchup and what that will be like. Atlanta gave Brooklyn trouble last year, and Atlanta, you know, they got some injuries they're dealing with, so that's something I'm going to be looking. Those 2 games I'm looking forward to this week.
Okay, I'm looking forward to where am I at here? Tomorrow, Bucks Heat, 2 of my favorites in the East. I can't wait to see them go head to head. It was just Giannis's birthday, of course. He balled out. And the Heat just continue to be a surprising team, and I like to watch them. They're exciting, and they're fighting this season. They are
dealing with some injury, right? Bam's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks with the surgery, so that's going to be a little rough for them. And it's, you know, the question is, can the Heat kind of tread water and maintain, or do they start sliding? Because, you know, we're really looking at those top 3 seeds, right? And right now, it's looking like, is it going to hold up and end up being, you know, Brooklyn, Chicago, and Milwaukee, right? Are those the top 3 teams in the Eastern Conference? I mean, we'll see. I mean, again, Miami was up there, but I think, you know, with the loss of Bam, that's going to hurt them. But is Brooklyn, Chicago, and Milwaukee, are those really your top 3 teams in the East, and they're going to jockey for whom has the number 1 overall seed? And again, for those 3 teams, you want to be in the top 3 because once you get into 4, home court advantage starts getting dicey for you, right? So meaning you don't have one, right? You have it in 1 round. So you really want to lock in there and make sure you finish in that top 3.
And Thursday too, Jazz Sixers. That should be a good one.
Again, Sixers are starting to get healthy at the right time. They still have a Ben Simmons situation, we know, but you know, so far so good.
So curious about what's going to happen there. Ben. I just wonder what he's doing. Like, what does he do now?
what are you doing all day? Yeah, it's
does he work out? Like,
well, he does work out. He does work out, and he is, you know, seeing the mental health professional associated with the MBPA. But that's really all we know right now.
Yeah, so we shall see. But to close out this episode. That was my Pat McAfee voice. I've been watching too much.
Listen, you gotta stop watching that crap, man. Pat McAfee, you gotta chill with that.
Thank you. But in the return of America's favorite segment, What's Up With? And if you're new to this podcast, we say what is up with our player, a team, a situation around the league that honestly, it could be open-ended. This could be a really good thing or a really bad thing where Jarod comes down with a slew of insults that we'll write down and keep using for years to come. Jarod?
Yes. So what's up with, and this is what's up with the Memphis Grizzlies and my guy, Jaron Jackson Jr.? Grizzlies have won 5 games in a row. Listen, man. This is all about Ja Morant. The Grizzlies haven't trailed in 20 straight quarters. They've outscored opponents by 129 points in the last 5 games. Now, of course, a big part of that was waxing the Oklahoma City Thunder by 73. Be that as it may, this may be an actual good thing for the Grizzlies. And here's what I mean. Teams oftentimes get themselves into trouble when a high draft pick like a John Morant all of a sudden starts elevating his play and evolves, and it's like, ooh, all-star, this, that, all these crazy things, right? The offense tends to become very single-minded and one-player-centric, right? And heliocentric. Now, we've seen heliocentric offenses work. See the Dallas Mavericks with Luka Doncic. See the Houston Rockets all those years with James Harden. But those types of offenses have a limit, right? There's only so much you can do. Let us not forget that Jaron Jackson Jr. was picked very high in the draft prior, right? This guy's got talent and skills, man, and we're seeing it. He's shooting about 50, 40, 90 over the last month. He's really stepping up his game. And Jenna, the big thing is, and I said this, his foul rate has gone down dramatically. Part of the problem with him was he could never stay on the floor because he would literally seem like he started the game with 2 fouls, right? Before you know it, you're like, we're like in the first 5 minutes in, you already got 2 fouls. How is that happening? On the defensive end, the game is starting to slow down for him, and he's not biting on pump fakes wildly and doing those different kinds of things. The Grizzlies right now, again, as I said, they've won 5 straight games. They are 14-10. They are in the 4th spot, right? They are only 2.5 games behind the Utah Jazz, who are at 16-7 now. Do I think they can hold on to the 4th spot this year? Maybe. It's going to be tough without Ja, but having the development of guys like Desmond Bane, and of course I mentioned Jaron Jackson Jr., when John Morant does come back, then the Grizzlies can see, hey, we don't have to be a one-man band here, right? You can still do your thing, and we can let Triple J cook and do his thing, because then we can be something serious. Because I've always said the two of them are the cornerstones of what I think could be a future 50-win team, right? And if Ja and Jaron are future all-stars, which we really think Ja Morant is, that's what you need, right? You have 2 future all-stars on your team. That's a 50-win team that's going to the playoffs every year. Oh, that's what we think this team can be. So I'm happy about what the Grizzlies are doing.
You love your Grizzlies. I love the dedication to it, Jarod.
I do. Watch a lot of Memphis Grizzlies games over here.
League pass team for Jarod right there.
For sure.
Don't sleep. Okay, my what's up with it is, what is up with Kemba Walker and the Knicks? I say this because Kemba Walker finally addressed the media after he was pulled out of the rotation and benched by Tibbs, and Alec Burks took his starting spot in the lineup at point guard. He just signed that 2-year deal for $18 million. Everybody basically had a parade. He's home. He's in the Bronx. Rah, rah, rah. Well, that was short-lived. So he comes out and says something along the lines of, I had no choice. I respect the decision. It's something I have to live with. Okay, well, what's your future? What's up? What is your future in New York? And he mentioned, too, to reporters in that press conference addressing it, that Ain't Hard to Tell podcast, free Kemba. He mentioned in that press conference that this is the first time it's happened in his career. So this is a slew of new emotions and a new situation for him, and happening on a stage that is the Madison Square Garden stage is a lot to handle.
Look, I mean, we're supporters of Kemba. We love what he's done and what he's doing. The reality is, though, look, this team isn't very good, right? Like, when he's on the floor, defensively, they're getting skewered, and that's a problem. And the thing is, his offense is not at that all NBA level where the defense, where you're fine with it, right? It's okay. He's scoring, he's giving us 26 points a night. So who cares? Well, that ain't happening, right? So, and look, here's the thing about the Knicks right now. They're struggling on that end of the floor defensively. And, I'm wondering how much do we jump the gun on last year's season thinking that they've righted the ship and everything's all good? I don't know. What I'm going to watch for the Knicks, and I told our producer, Dexter, is producing for us today, I'm going to watch RJ Barrett for about 10 games, because that is the key. He was your number 3 draft pick, and he has to start playing like an all-star. He ain't doing that. He's just not. And
he hasn't been. He just doesn't.
And if the Knicks are going to be the realization of what they want to be, they need him to be what they think he's going to be. I think Julius Randle is what he is, right? I think you kind of you saw that last year. That's the best version of Julius Randle. I think you're going to get much better than that. And that's fine. But RJ's got to be considerably better. And we'll see. But right now, look, the Knicks are struggling. And Kemba's handling it like a pro because he's a professional. But 11-12, losers of 3 straight. Again, defensively, they are struggling right now. So, I just think it's bad time for the Knicks right now.
Oh, all my teams. What is going on?
Out
in these streets.
It happens.
Oh, the association is so damn long. It just hurts forever. Literally. It's fine. We'll recoup, guys. We'll be back next week. You know what's up. Every single Tuesday, find us here on our new home at the Props Network.
Yes, shout out to the Props Network for Kyle and all the guys there. Sam, we're so happy to be a part of this platform with our good friends over at the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. Shout out to our guy Dex, who jumped at the last minute to help produce because we had some technical difficulties. But folks, you know where to find us. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, SoundCloud, all that. Make sure you're following the Props Network at 7footerspod on Twitter, at 7footerspodcast on Instagram, at JS Hector, at Gentleman Selly. Until next time, peace.
Spent a couple years out here with these raps, trying to have a plan that we made come true. Applied to some jobs, but I ain't hit back. I don't want to